So do you also regularly conduct and manage webinars? Then this video is definitely for you. So hello all, welcome back to Pabbly Connect, and in this video we are going to understand how to create GoToWebinar Registrant on Webflow forms submission. So over here I'm running a Edutech company and we regularly conduct webinars for our potential clients to convert them into our clients, and we use Webflow to collect the details of our potential clients who are interested in attending the webinars. So now what I want is that as soon as someone registers for the webinar with the help of Webflow, automatically a new registrant should be created in my GoToWebinar account too. That too without any manual efforts. So to do this, we are simply going to create a connection between Webflow and GoToWebinar. To create this connection without knowing any programming or coding language, we are going to use Pabbly Connect. It is an amazing automation software. So do you also want to create this automation for your business? Then for that you have to come with me towards my screen.
Welcome to my screen. So today I'll show you how to automatically register users for GoToWebinar when they submit a form on your Webflow. This integration eliminates manual efforts, streamlined event registrations, and ensure that every participant receives the instant access. So let's get started with a really simple example. Let's say that my name is Demo User and I'm just going to register for this webinar. So I'm just going to enter all of my details and click on this submit, and yes, you can see your submission has been received. So now I'm just going to open my GoToWebinar account and we're going to refresh this in order to check for a new registrant created. Alright, so I'm just going to refresh this right from here, and yes, over here you can see the registered turn into 2. So I'm just going to open this, and yes, over here you can see a new registrant has been added. You can see the same name, the same email which we entered in our test submission. You can see that within seconds the registration has been created right over here in my GoToWebinar account too. That too without any manual efforts. So this is the automation we are going to create in today's video, and if you also want to create this automation for your business, then for that you have to watch this video till the end. So to do this, I have simply opened the landing page of Pabbly by searching pabbly.com/connect in my browser. It is very easy, and as soon as we are going to open the landing page of Pabbly, we are going to get two options. One is sign in and the another one is sign up for free. So if you are a new user, you can click on this sign up for free and you're going to get 100 of hours free every month to explore the application. But over here I'm an existing user, so I'm just going to click on this sign in, and as soon as we are going to click on this sign in, it is opening all Pabbly apps, and over here you can see all the tools and applications offered by Pabbly. But in today's video, we are going to use Pabbly Connect because we are connecting different applications, which is Webflow and GoToWebinar. So I'm just going to click on this access now right over here to access my Pabbly Connect account. And as soon as we're going to click on this access now, it is opening my dashboard. And to start with this automation, we have to click on this button which says Create Workflow. And now it is asking me for the workflow name and the folder I want to save the workflow in. So over here I want to save the workflow in this folder which says automations, and I want to name my workflow as this, which says how to create GoToWebinar registrant on Webflow forms submission, Webflow to GoToWebinar, and then we just have to click on this create. And as soon as we are going to click on this create, it is opening the most important window of our automation, which is our workflow window. So this is the most important window because we have trigger and action in this. So trigger and actions are the two main principles on which our workflow will work. All right, trigger means when this happens and action means do this. So by this you can understand that the actions are response towards the commands given by our trigger, and that's the reason that we can have only a single trigger but multiple actions following the commands of our trigger. And in order to start with our automation, we have to select our trigger application. So for my trigger application, I'm just going to select it as Webflow. So I'm just going to search for Webflow, and as you can see Webflow V1 and V2. So we have to select V2 over here, and now it is asking me for the trigger event. So basically trigger event is the event on which the workflow will start. So over here what I want is that as soon as a new form submission is made in my Webflow account, automatically my workflow should be triggered or started. So I'm just going to select form submitted over here and click on this connect, and now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your Webflow V2 account with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can click on this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me. Click on add a new connection, and now it is asking me for the API key, and it is saying to obtain the API key, log into your Webflow account, hover on the site and click on the site settings button. Navigate to the apps and integrations and click on generate API token button. Alright, so we have to follow the same. I'm just going to open my Webflow account, and now over here you can see that there are two sites. So I'm just going to create this automation for this site, which is Edutech. So I'm just going to hover on this site, and as you can see the button of site settings. So we just have to go towards this site settings. Alright, now after coming over here towards the site settings, we have to go towards the left side of the bar, apps and integrations. And now after coming over here towards the apps and integrations section, we are going to scroll and look for API access. And over here you can see that I've already created 3 API keys, but I'm just going to create a new. For that, I'm just going to go towards this generate API token, and now for the token name, I want it to be new registrant. Okay, so I'm just going to keep it as new registrant right over here. And now after giving the token name, Pabbly is asking me for some permissions. Alright, you can see over here all of these permissions. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give Pabbly all the permissions over here. For that, I'm just going to keep it as read and write right over here, read and only, read write, and then read and write, and all the permissions Pabbly is asking for, I'm just going to give it. If you want, you can definitely limit the accesses. Alright, but over here my data is secure with Pabbly, so I can also give all the permissions. You can also give all the permissions, and then we just have to click on this generate token. And yes, over here you can see that this is my API key. So I'm just going to copy this API token, and yes, we are just going to paste it right over here in my workflow. And after pasting this, we just have to click on this save. And as soon as we're going to click on this save, right over here you can see site ID, which is Edutech. And yes, this is the same site we connected right now with our workflow. Alright, so now we just have to click on this save and send test request button, and as soon as we're going to click on this save and send test request, it is saying waiting for response, and in the notes it is saying do a test submission / record. So in order to capture this response, we have to do a test submission or record. So what we have to do is I'm just going to open the form, and we're going to do the test submission with the help of this form only. So let's say that for the first name, I'm just going to keep it as test, last name as user. For the mobile number, I'm just going to keep it as this. You can see the email, and now for the organization name, I'm just going to keep it as Pabbly Con. So now after entering all of my details, I'm just going to click on this submit button right over here. Alright, and as soon as we're going to click on this submit, yes, you can see your submission has been received. So now Webflow has sent the details of our test submission to our workflow. So I'm just going to open my workflow, and yes, over here you can see that Pabbly has captured the response. You can see all the details which we entered. You can see the organization name, you can see the mobile number, you can see the last name, the first name, and the email which we entered. So yes, with this we have successfully completed our trigger step, and now what will happen is that as soon as a new form submission is made in my Webflow account, automatically this workflow is going to get triggered, and Pabbly is going to capture the response for the same. Alright, we're going to move on forward towards our action step. What I want is, I want to create GoToWebinar Registrant on Webflow form submission, right? So for my action application, I'm just going to select it as GoToWebinar. So I'm just going to search for GoToWebinar right over here, and as you can see the same, so we are just going to select it. And now it is asking me for the action event. So for my action event, I'm just going to select it as create registrant and click on this connect. And now it is asking me to add a new connection and select existing connection once again. So yes, if you have already connected your GoToWebinar account with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can click on this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, once again you have to follow me, click on add a new connection, and now it is asking me for the from time and the to time. So here we have to enter the from and the to time of our webinar. So I'm just going to open my GoToWebinar account, and as you can see that the from time and the to time of my webinar is 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. But over here you can see that this is in IST format, but over here we have to enter the time in UTC format. Alright, so what we have to do is we just have to convert this IST to UTC time format and then enter it right over here. And to convert this, what we have to do is first I'm just going to copy this example right from below and paste it right over here. Alright, now what we have to do is we are just going to open a new tab and look for IST to UTC. So I'm just going to search for IST to UTC, and I'm just going to open any link given right over here in order to convert this IST UTC time format into UTC. And now over here you can see that first we are going to do it for the from time. So the from time is 12 p.m. So I'm just going to select 12 p.m. right over here as the IST. Alright, so I'm just going to go towards this. We are just going to select 12 right over here and then PM, and we are just going to click on this OK. So yes, you can see that 12 p.m. in IST is 6:30 a.m. in UTC. Alright, so this is the from time in UTC time format. So what we have to do is over here we have to enter 6:30 a.m. For that, first we're just going to enter the date. Alright, so you can see the date of the webinar is 10th of March 2025. So for the year from 2020, we just want to keep it as 2025. Over here for the month it is March only, and for the date over here you can see the date is 10th of March. So I'm just going to enter 10. Over here you can see the T would remain same. I'm just going to erase this 10 and enter 06. We are going to enter 30 right over here, 6:30 a.m. So yes, you can see that we have successfully entered from time, and now it is asking me for the to time. So you can see the webinar is of 1 hour, which is 12 to 1 p.m. Alright, so I'm just going to copy this right from here, and what we're going to do is paste it right over here in the to time too. Alright, but over here we are just going to convert this 1 p.m. also into UTC. So I'm just going to select 1 p.m. and as you can see, obviously it is 7:30 a.m. in UTC. So instead of 6:30, I'm just going to keep it as 7:30, and now after entering from and to time, we just have to click on this blue button which says connect with GoToWebinar. And as soon as we're going to click on this blue button which says connect with GoToWebinar, yes, you can see that we have successfully connected our GoToWebinar account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. You can see that it was really easy because I've already logged in my GoToWebinar account previously before starting with the automation. Alright, so I hope you can also do the same. And after connecting this, it is asking me to select the webinar. So as you can see that we have successfully selected the webinar. We're going to move on forward. It is asking me for the first name, last name and the email to make the registrant. Over here I'm just going to enter all of these details one by one so that we can create a new registrant, but we are not going to enter the details manually or by copy pasting it, but instead we are going to map it. So you must be wondering, what is mapping? So mapping is a method by Pabbly which means inserting the data from the previous step. And as you know, our previous step was the trigger step where we selected Webflow as our trigger application. So we are just going to map the details from the response of our trigger application only, and as soon as we're going to map these details, automatically my details will turn dynamic and change with every new response received. So over here I'm going to give you an example that it is asking me for the first name, right? So let's say that I'm just going to enter my first name right over here manually by typing it like this. Then this will not change with every new response received because this is a static information and I've entered it manually. But let's say that we're going to map this from the previous response. So I'm just going to look for first name in the previous response, and as you can see test. So let's say that we're going to map this. Then this will definitely change because my previous response will also change. So that's why we do mapping right over here to run our workflow in real time. Same we are going to do with the last name too. I'm just going to map it, and same we're going to do with the email too. We are just going to look for email in the previous response. Alright, so we're just going to look for it and then we are going to map it, and after mapping all of these details which are required, we are going to move on forward. You can see that now it is asking me for many another details which are not required. So I'm just going to fill in the required details and click on this blue button which says save and send test request. If you wish, you can definitely fill out the not required details too. And as soon as we're going to click on this save and send test request button, yes, you can see that we have received a positive response that we have successfully created a new registrant in our GoToWebinar account with these same details. So I'm just going to open my GoToWebinar account and we're going to refresh this in order to check for the new registrant created. So as you can see that right now it is 2 registered, and as soon as we're going to refresh this, it is going to turn into 3 registered because we have recently created a new registrant, right, with the name test user. So I'm just going to refresh it right from here. And yes, as soon as we're going to refresh it right from here, yes, you can see the registered has been turned into 3. So I'm just going to open it right from here. All right. And yes, over here you can see a new registration has been created. You can see the name test user, you can see the email test user 55@pabblytudes.com. So yes, you can see that this is the same details with the help of which we did the test submission. And yes, with this we have successfully completed our workflow. And now what will happen is that as soon as a new form submission is made in my Webflow account, automatically this workflow is going to get triggered. Pabbly is going to capture the response for the same and create a new registrant in my GoToWebinar account that too in seconds, like I showed you in the real-time example in the starting of this video. We don't have to come back and again to our workflow to click on save and send test request. This workflow is going to run in backend and create new registrants in real time on Webflow form submission. So yes, this was it for the video, and if you have any questions related to the video or the workflow, you can directly comment on this video. And for your reference, I'll just clone this workflow and share the workflow link in the description box so that you can access my workflow. I hope this video was helpful for you. Thank you for watching.
So not only these applications, but with the help of Pabbly Connect, you can integrate many more applications. So if you have any doubts, you can reach us at support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can reach us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, you can follow this website. And if you find our videos helpful, do like and subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching.